Okay, good afternoon and welcome to your reading, Kelly. Right, okay, before I actually start, a couple of things I will go through. During the process of the reading, there will be a mediumship connection coming forward, okay? So the difference between a mediumship and a psychic would be the psychic side is basically I would be reading your energy. On a mediumistic basis, I work directly with that connection with your loved one's spirit side. I do just have to make you aware, the lady first of all which was coming forward, I want to class her more as grandmother on mum's side of the family, and with her she keeps showing that she carried a little bit of weight around her midsection, but she also then points out that there's another lady with her who's very slim and very slender, okay? So just be aware of that to start off with, because as she's coming forward with that, she mentions that there's been a lot of misunderstanding around your life currently. And also she makes it clear that she's doing everything she can to send a lot of healing over. And when she was doing that, she was referring it to a gentleman. So I'm aware that there's a gentleman in need on the earth at the current point who's undergoing a lot of healing, those type of areas. And that seems to be quite important there. Also with her, as she brings this connection forward, she mentions that life is just, and it's not that life has got out of your control. She just points out that life as such has changed, or in that process of changing, become a little bit more difficult than what it should have been. She also points out to me that she remembers quite fondly of people and she just shows me people sitting round the table and just unwinding, if you like, and having that little bit of talk or banter. She says that the family were with her towards the end, but when she says that, I don't see you present, okay? So just be aware that majority of the family would have been present around her at the time of passing, yet for whatever reason I do see a couple of people who were exception to that. The other thing she points out is, as much as I've got this pressure going on around the chest, so I know that my lungs feel quite heavy with her towards the end, she does point out to me that there's a gentleman also spirit side whose heart left him or took him over spirit side. So just be aware of those couple of bits to start off with. The other area she's trying to concentrate on at the moment is that there's, and it's quite a strange thing what she's trying to get across, is because she's saying you're not aware yet, but everything's due to unfold. And she keeps showing me very much like an umbrella, and at the current point you're stood holding, waiting for something to happen, but all that actually needs to be happen is the umbrella to open. So there's a lot of changes which she's trying to point out which are coming and which are en route. So there's a lot of different information she's trying to get across to you at this point. I will be doing some cards as well during the connection, so just be aware that the more I'm trying to get information wise from her, she just keeps referring to, right, she keeps mentioning that someone was a little girl at the time of her passing. She also points out that as much as people weren't there towards the end, everyone was there at the funeral. She also acknowledges that it's like there's something worn in memory rather than held in memory, and she's just trying to get that across. Whilst I'm even having this conversation with you, everything gets a little bit blurry around the screen, so there's so much spirit energy all coming forward. And there's a gentleman also, as I've already mentioned, who, first of all, a grandfather on father's side, and he would have had a heart problem which would have took him over, but I do feel a little bit rounder with him, so I know I'm carrying a lot of that connection. But the other thing is that on the father's side vibration, they show me your appearance is more of father's side than of mum's side, okay? So that seems to be very much put there. They keep talking about a gentleman spirit side and keep mentioning dad, so I'm just trying to work out where they're going with that, because they keep referring to dad spirit side, but usually when they mention that, I try to work out where that's feeling or where that's fitting. So just be aware that there's a gentleman spirit side who keeps shouting dad to me, okay? And they're all trying to just get that connection and that energy over to you, because they're, even where you are at the current point, They keep showing, and I'm going to say showing me your house, if you like, okay? But I've got certain areas, and I don't want to say that I'm in need of sorting, but there's certain areas which feel cluttered, if you like, okay? Because as I'm going through it, I feel like I'm able to move stuff out the way. But I'm pretty sure they keep sending me up to the bedroom area where it's like I've got a pile of washing, I presume it is, to one side, which just seems, because everything they're saying is there's stuff which just needs sorting, there's stuff which just needs to get sorted. So they're trying to first of all let you know that they've been around. I always ask them to first of all prove who they are, and then prove that they've been around. So just be aware that they're also mentioning that some bad news came through the post for the family this week. So I believe it's this week rather than last week, because that's what they said, this week. So just be aware of that. So there would have been bad news received. And also where your back door area is, I don't feel the door to be sticking, but for whatever reason, as I look down, it feels like I've got a bit of either damage at the bottom part of the door, or something's not quite right at the bottom part of the door, okay? And that's also in this process of getting sorted out, because there's so much within inside your own home, and what they're referring to is not that it's under process, but I've just got loads of different areas that are needing to get sorted out or fixed or put together. Yet it just feels like they're on a list, yet the list never quite gets sorted or done, and they're just sort of saying that things have just got a little bit on top recently. They mention, I believe they're referring to yours, but they keep talking about an anxiety or a depression which has been around recently, and that's caused a few concerns or worries even. Other than the fact that they keep trying to tell me there's a birthday around us now, I'm being drawn to August. So as much as they're saying around us now, I feel that they're slightly ahead of the gun there, okay? Because I'm being drawn to August. I want to be around the 8th or the 9th of August, but they're telling me there's one around us now. So just be aware of that. But as I said, with the lady who came forward on a grandmother connection, she just wants to let you know that she misses you. She sends her love and her respect over. She says that there's been a little bit dilemma with the shopping. And that makes it sound like someone's dropped the shopping. I'm not quite sure what that's about. But she just keeps showing me there's a dilemma with the shopping, and she shows me the bags and the bag split. So that's something which just be aware of. Okay. I'm just trying to get to the bottom of why she keeps referring to these health issues, but she's saying someone's blood's not been right. So I'm seeing more bubbles in it than what should be in there. So I presume that would, well, I don't really know what that'd be actually, but it seems like there's too much oxygen in the blood, so that would be either a low blood, I believe it to be a low blood pressure issue, which someone would have been struggling with. But because of that, I feel like I'm a little bit catching my breath, okay, so just be aware of that also. But everything she's trying to get across to yourself is just to let you know that she's there. She says someone carries part of her name as well, and there's also a Jill or a, it sounded like a Jill or a Julie, but just be aware of that name coming forward, and there should also be a Rob or a Robert, okay? But as she comes through, she just needs you to know that she's there. She sends her love, she sends her respect over. As much as the gentleman who passed off the heart attack condition came forward, the reason I keep smiling is he's someone who's quite comical, keeps telling jokes, if you like. So he would have been quite a funny character. He tries to be more funny than what he actually is, but he's quite a funny character. But he just wants to let you know that he's there as well. He says that it's not him who likes to tinker with cars or motorbikes, but you should understand where the mechanic or the mechanical connection is with a tinkerer, okay? There's one bit which is eluding me slightly, because they keep referring to a gentleman whose passing was outside of his control, which the reason it's eluding me slightly is he's saying it's outside of his control, To me, I'm being drawn more to a suicide. So, because it's a suicide connection, technically it was their control. That's why it's a little bit strange. So just be aware there is a suicide connection coming forward. It links to a gentleman. He would have been around 5'9", 5'10" height-wise. I feel quite slender with him. I don't feel it's drugs. I feel it's more depression which would have took him over. But he's saying it was outside of his control. For something to be outside of his control, it would have meant that he tried to reach out or save himself prior to passing, which would put us on an accidental passing rather than a suicide vibration. So just be aware he is trying to say he regretted or tried to change his actions, but it was unsuccessful towards the end. So just be aware he also wants to just send his love and his respect over and just try to let everyone know that he's around. They're painting not what I would class as the greatest picture of your home. So because so far I feel I've got part of the back door which needs looking at or repairing. I've got some clutter going on upstairs. I really feel I want to just be straightening your house out and just giving everywhere a complete sort through and reorganize, if you like, okay? Because they just keep trying to get everything sorted out, even to the point that I want to be, it feels, I was going to say front room, but I'm going to say it's the room off the front room where either the carpet or the floorings got that feeling like that needs to be looked at or sorted out. But then when they were trying to take me to the, what I presume to be the back garden rather than the front, I feel I'm in the process of getting it fixed. I'm in the process of getting it sorted. So I'm not quite sure why Spirit feel like you need to be on an episode of Grand Design for whatever reason. But it does mean there's a lot of change going on around yourself, because every room in your house feels like I've got energy changing around. And they just keep showing it's in a process. Everything's in process. It's on a list. It's getting sorted. It's getting fixed. It's getting done. So it's not that you're just sat there and going, nah. It's a case that is in the process of getting sorted out. It just hasn't been done yet. So just be aware of that. Right. What I'm also going to do is just do a couple of cards whilst we're sort of here, because I just want to see what else is going on around at the moment. Okay. Right. Okay, right. The first cards which have come through, you have the conflict and deceit card around yourself, which basically means, as Joe have already said, that there was news which was received by the family. That's what this card's referring to. But I feel that that's a verbal news rather than a letter of any kind, okay? So just be aware there would have been news which would have been heard. You also have the harmony card and the hope card, which basically means there's a want to make something better on a relationship front than what it already is. So I'm going to say that there's a need to be realistic to what can happen and what can't happen, because this card would identify more as relationship based. However, a hope is not a fact. So just be aware the hope card means a lot of hope's been placed in an area, hoping that things will be better, change, those sort of things, but it's linking on a hope rather than an actual. So just go sort of, that's then led me down to the feet. I'm going to just do one on relationships quickly. Okay, right. So on a relationship basis, material harvest, which means you're at a point of everything being okay. And the reason I'm going here, as you also have the Triumph card, but you got the discontent card as well. And I can guarantee if I start to pick up a couple of cards on future basis, what I'm actually being drawn to is change. So on a present, at the current point, you do have a material harvest. You've even got the Triumph, which basically means the relationships you're in at the current point are the relationships you're meant to be in, whether this is family, personal, those type of things. However, it links to patience, new beginnings, and suffering in silence. Okay, which basically means that what you're going through at this current point is what I would class as a learning phase. So you can't get out of learning phases, right? And which basically means if you feel like someone's putting you technically through hell at the current point, it's because in a weird way they're meant to, because they're pushing you down a path, if you like, to learn the lessons you need to be learning. So that seems to be the important bit to understand, is that as much as life is not feeling as comfortable and or as good as what it should be at the current point, there's lessons you're meant to be learning along the way, which basically means you can't have an exit parachute. You can't just pull on the cord and out you pop. It doesn't work like that. It basically means that there's a lot of things going on around yourself at the moment which don't make sense, which don't quite feel as comfortable as what they should do. However, they're all there for a reason, okay? So whether good, bad or indifferent. So you just got to like ride it out in that sense. And the New Beginnings card, you can't really change that card. It basically means that your foundations, it doesn't mean you're going to get rid of all your friends, your family, your partners and everything like that. The New Beginnings card basically means that your foundations will be different. And what I mean by that is in 6 months' time, you will find that the world which you're used to now is not the one you're going to be used to in 6 months' time. So whether that's relationship, family, friends, or even work, but that New Beginnings links to a complete change coming. So just be aware of that. Right. So, also, as we're carrying on the flow, I do just have to point out to you that I keep seeing 2 small dots coming in and going like that across the screen. That's usually a sign that there is a child's energy spirit side. So just be aware of 2 small, if they're dots, it basically means that they didn't touch the earth, okay? So just be aware of 2 small dots, which are spirit side, okay? So you'll class them as little angels, those type of things, okay? But that's where they've been brought forward for. Okay, right. I just wanted, because I want to be nosy on what's going on around the home area, so I'm just trying to see what's going on with it. Because it's quite a puzzling one. Because this is how your house is being shown to me. It's just full of obstacles and challenges, which it basically means it's like there's so much going on around it, no energy flows within it. So that would usually mean it's clutter. Clutter does not mean dirty, okay? Before you think I've offended your house, that's not what I'm saying. What I keep being drawn to is clutter, okay, or things in process needing to be sorted out or fixed, okay? I'm also very much aware you're not going through a grieving phase. You've already came to terms with a passing. What you're going through is this change, or this trying to find an understanding on a spiritual level. But this obstacles and challenges more feels very much like you've got someone else's stuff in your house. The problem is when you fill your house with someone else's memories, it becomes a little bit bleh, okay? So I wouldn't be surprised if that's also happening there. Where you've also got the universe card coming, if it's a case you're fixing your house up, then fantastic. If not, this card is going to make reference to the fact that there's going to be a house move or change coming. The fact that you also have the New Beginnings card coming up would also illustrate that there's going to be those type of changes coming up around yourself, which is actually quite a positive thing, because you've got the universe and the fertility card. Okay, other than your name, I don't really know anything, so hopefully this all does make sense to you. The universe card basically means everything you've been wanting is about to come true. The fertility card basically means that new life's coming. It doesn't necessarily mean children. However, what these 2 cards together are actually saying is the fact that the new beginnings you're going to have is going to bring new life into it, okay? So you've got to just be aware that new life which is coming in, that's either going to be carried within, or it's going to completely change your perspective, where you become light, okay? You become airy and open and those type of things. So just be aware the transformations are coming. On a house move, I do feel there's going to be a house move coming up, so that also seems to be quite a poignant part there. Right. On the spiritual side of it, I'm just trying to get a few more bits of information coming through and see where we're at. Okay, your spiritual awareness cards came forward, which basically means you naturally try to trust your own intuition. Sometimes it works, sometimes you find that you're just going bah, okay? Recently, you have been trusting your intuition, okay, and the recognition and reward which comes from that basically means that your life feels slightly more balanced than what it has done. You've also got to remember, because you got the power card, this card only comes through, it's one of those ones where it only comes through for two reasons really. One, you're at a point where you need to stand in your own power, and secondly, that you need to find your own healing. What I'm being drawn around is the fact that it's not just your healing you're requiring, but that strength to just be you again. So just be aware that transformation is coming forward. There's going to be a lot of changes and a lot of positive things there. There's also a connection to someone in the family linking to an autism or an Asperger's connection as well there, okay? So just be aware and take their love and most of all, their respect. And if you do have any follow-up questions, send me a message and I'll get them answered for you. Thank you and goodbye.